Hi, thanks for tuning in to my official YouTube channel. I'm Reverend MeeLing. I've also been known as Reverend Susan MeeLing, Lady MeeLing, Lady Dori, Belle, so on and so forth, depending on which community I knew you in, what time I knew you, so on and so forth. So, I was listening to Fox News's Tucker Carlson, as I've also been paying attention to the news, not just through Fox News, but also through online news sources and speaking with people, seeing with my own eyes, listening with my own ears, so on and so forth. Even as far as looking and seeing what's on Twitter and etc. So, I don't know if there are individuals who are aware. I know I have explained in prior official YouTube videos of mine more recently in regards to you really don't want martial law. You truthfully don't, because once martial law gets into place, especially if it is nationwide, it will be extremely difficult to get away from that. So while some people might want to say, hey, well, rioting is their version of protesting, it is not. Rioting is rioting. The definition of rioting is essentially causing chaos and panic through massive destruction. Peaceful protesting is making a stand in a manner in which you are noticed, but you are not being destructive. So there's a very big difference between rioting, which is going on, in comparison to peaceful protest. So I'll give you an example of rioting. There's the autonomous zone in Seattle, if that's still going on. There's the destruction of historical monuments. That is another one. Minneapolis. I think I heard somebody when I was listening to the news say Memphis in Tennessee, so on and so forth. Atlanta, Georgia. I heard having certain aspects of looting and that sort of aspect. So now here's an example of that. Now that I've given you the examples of rioting, I want to give you examples of peaceful protesting. So there's Martin Luther King Jr. when he was alive, and the Million Man March. There is sit-ins, not where people have changed themselves and then had to be removed by the police, but like peaceful protests in that regard. You could even say, in reference to my Medal of Honor art project, in certain references you could look at that as a peaceful protest. And why can I say that? I can explain that. With my choice to do my Medal of Honor art project artwork, there were many reasons why I had created my Medal of Honor art project. And if you go to my website, you can read a good portion of them. However, I've also dealt with, over the years, a large number of individuals who have yelled at me and told me that I had no right to care more about my children or the military because of their opinions. I have been yelled at. I actually had several individual groups that had actually circled around, and I had my back against the wall, and I defended myself. One particular group A few of them are actually from the Austin vicinity. Another example is with my biological sister and how she came at me the way she did. And even as far as my ex-in-laws, a few of them, not all of them, but specifically the females, as far as my ex-sisters-in-law. And there have been several other times where I have been literally surrounded, had my back against the wall if I was lucky, and not surrounded, and flat out defended myself for caring about my son and my daughter, who are my children. I know that there are plenty of parents in the world, not just in the United States of America, but in this reference, in the United States of America, who care about their children. I have no problem acknowledging the fact that I had defended my points and my stances in reference to being supportive of and defending the United States of America's armed forces, their spouses, their families, including even their friends. I have no problem saying that. I defended myself for many, many times over. And I haven't had to do it in the same way, obviously, in this regard. But, I have actually said that I am tired of certain things that have been going on. And my way of peacefully protesting in a different aspect, I didn't use the term protest, was starting my Medal of Honor art project. Not just because of being respectful to the fact that my constitutional rights, just like everybody else's that is a citizen of the United States of America, exist because of so many individuals who came before this day. So today is the 15th of June, 2020. It's later going to be the 16th, but nonetheless, I apologize. It is the 16th of June, 2020. My mistake. Nonetheless, in my Medal of Honor art project, I made my artwork and that sort of aspect of things, and I didn't cause any harm to anybody. I didn't bother anybody. I gave respect and paid tribute to the individuals where their Medal of Honor recipient markers are. I gave respect and reverence to the guys, and not being sexist, not caring about not caring, but in a what ethnic background, what the sexual preference was, etc., as far as each of the recipients of my Medal of Honor art project, was never of importance to me. The only aspect as far as their spiritual background had to do with just the artwork and being respectful to that. And then taking the pieces to places with guys who, in certain references, I wonder if there were points where they just didn't seem to think that anybody cared to the level that, at least I do. I know that there are others who do as well. But there was no destruction on my part. There was no problems caused for a multitude of individuals. I did not destroy other people's stuff. And as far as my Medal of Honor recipients, because it is the Black Lives Matter movement at this point in time, I didn't pay attention to what ethnic background. I didn't look at the list of names and go, well, let me find the no, that didn't mean anything. Not in a negative way. If they were whatever their background ethnically is, that's what they were. And Just be respectful of, because of being appreciative of. I understand and I comprehend being absolutely infuriated and frustrated by a lot of stuff. I truthfully do. But there has to be a way in which you are able to get the attention in a more positive and uplifting manner instead of destroying. Because if you think about it, okay, if you remove certain structures, out of curiosity, how long have certain individuals been looking at having those particular monuments removed? And why? You're doing it for them for free? You look at the aspects of companies, and they have insurance, right? You destroy their stuff, loot, and etc. They have insurance, right? Not saying that small businesses don't have insurance. Some of them do, but they don't necessarily have a protective measure in regards to if you go and stop a small business from being able to do its stuff. And so you're essentially getting the bigger businesses that you have looted and destroyed their property to be able to pay think of a car accident, whether in reference if you caused it, so you pay your deductible and then everything gets fixed, right? When you riot, I would guesstimate that there is a similar aspect where the bigger businesses especially have that insurance. They pay their deductible, and then the insurance company pays for everything to make it better, right? Do you see the math that I'm trying to point out to you? And in turn, with the rioting and taking away the aspects of police officers and law enforcement being able to do their jobs, and yes, are there some that are bad apples? Yes, but that is not the entire police force. Look at the history of things as well in that regard. And not just in an overall sort of way, look at the individual areas. How many of them, as far as the ones who were actually justifiably correct, not the ones that are the bad apples, the ones that were misinterpreted and things blew out of proportion, the individuals who were supposed to be there and defend them had to instead go and defend against rioting and looting. Leaving those actual good officers that were misnomered to attempt to defend themselves, and so on and so forth. So I understand and I comprehend people being angry. I truthfully do. There's no denying that. However, is there not a more productive way to get change to actually occur? Is it that the aspects as far as why there are so many things, not just because of the parental aspects, not just because of communities not necessarily doing certain things, not just because of the public school system issues in certain regard, not just because of all these different things. Is it also because of the fact that there are so few people who have had religious backgrounds And yes, are there certain ones that have done certain things wrong? Yes. Are there certain ones that have only had a few bad apples? Yes. But does that mean that the morals and the ethics, the principles and the ideals are wrong? No. Is it really that difficult to believe in you shouldn't lie? Is it realistic? Does anybody actually enjoy being lied to? I don't enjoy being lied to. I cannot be the only one who does not like being lied to. I don't lie, and there's that. So then I don't steal. I don't want things stolen from me. Do you want things stolen from you? Whether in the rioting aspect or not. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I listened and partially watched some individuals in the autonomous zone who wound up dealing with theft. Nobody likes having their stuff stolen from them, right? Okay. And so the most basic 10 commandments. I can't be the only person who doesn't want that sort of stuff to happen to me, correct? So is it because of either A, the aspect of people not having that more readily available, or is it B, because of only paying attention to the bad apples instead of the overall goodness? Is it C, because of a misnomer and a misconception in regards to the understanding of various teachings? Is it D, in reference to the lack of the ability to see in person because of so many different photoshops and video games and movies and so on and so forth, where others edit and change the stuff on the techie stuff to fit a narrative? Is it D, the amount of violence that has been desensitized through the aspects of certain types of video games and movies? Is it E, in reference to the lack of seriousness and more focus on playing instead of being? Is it F, in reference to the aspects of you got so accustomed to just being able to express yourselves through your feelings and whoever you had in your life that allowed you to literally destroy things, you perpetually continued on and thought that that was considered normal and acceptable, and it's not normal or acceptable to do that sort of stuff, right? Do you really want that to be the normal and acceptable aspect? Truthfully. Is it G, because so many have lost faith and hope? That it's so difficult? Is that another aspect of not knowing what genuinity is anymore? Because of A, B, C, D, E, F, leading up to G. Is that what it is? Not just in the United States of America, but around the world in certain regards? I mean, I truthfully do not understand it. I can understand and comprehend the different emotional aspects. I truthfully can. But actually taking that extra step to go and do something destructive instead of attempting to do something more positive in a multitude of ways. Is it because of not just the aspects of not nearly as many fathers being around? Is it also because of mothers that are too whatever? As far, I mean, what is it? Because there are a lot of things that I can look at as reasons as well as excuses depending upon. So what is it? Where is it that so much has gone so astray? Is it because of, for example, with the news? How many people complained about certain aspects of the news? And I don't mean in reference to the commentary news. There's obviously that. People have differences of opinion. But in reference to, for example, the events of 9/11. How many people complained to the news and they had to cater and kowtow, and then you don't get the actualities in life? And because you don't get the actualities in life, it is a different version of that sort of editing in that regard, while those guys have to remain, you know, I'm sure there's a word for that, but just in that regard, that continues and perpetuates. At what point in time does it come as and the realizations that, okay, yes, there are ways to look at going into a more positive aspect that seemingly feel lost? Where is it that the aspects in this era of so many just, is it that so many people feel that lost? Is that what that is? Because of the different aspects of? Is it because of, instead of being truthful, people feel that they should compare themselves to another and be jealous instead of looking at what somebody else is doing and genuinely try to do and be better, to be able to achieve maybe not the exact same achievements, but at least better oneself? Is it like I really truthfully don't know. I'm so confused in these aspects because, again, I never thought anybody would cause problems to my Medal of Honor art project, which is a whole other ball of wax. But in that, you know, if hypothetically those individuals who had maliciously caused problems to my Medal of Honor art project, is it because so many people have seen what they did? And then at that point, why are you blaming everybody but the individuals who actually caused the problems to my Medal of Honor art project? Is it that seems easier to take it out on somebody else, projecting your anger and frustration to others instead of? I mean, unless the particular businesses that you're going after were a part of the malicious problems to my Medal of Honor art project, meaning the people in charge of those businesses and not individual employees of those businesses. Then if you think about it, if you destroy every type of business, then are you prepared to be able to do your own stuff? Are you prepared and ready to grow your own food? Can you? Are you prepared and ready to filter your own water or make your own tea or coffee or whatever it is you drink? Are you prepared to go and hunt your own food? Are you prepared and ready to go fish? If you go and destroy all sorts of businesses, where are you going to get your supplies from? Because then, at that point, if you go to the individuals who can do those things, why would those individuals feel comfortable doing that then? After watching what you did to the bigger businesses and smaller businesses in the areas of the rioting. don't think I'll get any answers on that. I'm just wondering. Haven't received any responses, so that is what it is. Just saying. What is it? Hopefully that there is a more positive outcome and a better way to handle things. But I can only take care of what I can take care of. It's up to each individual to do their own stuff as well. And whether you choose to work with others in a positive way or not to, that is up to you. But there is a saying, which you should keep in mind. There is no honor among thieves. Do you understand what that means? If you do not, think about it this way. If you work together to go and destroy something and steal or whatever, how quickly, if whoever is involved gets caught, will turn on the other for a better deal? There's no honor among thieves. So, for example, in the autonomous zones and stuff like that, and the rioting areas, if anybody gets picked up by law enforcement, how quickly are they going to be turned over? How quickly is that going to turn around? Is there any examples that could be given in historical references where that has occurred in historical times? If so, maybe you should think about some things. Have a good one.